Today we are going to discuss about introductory remarks on motivation. Motivation is a very common term that we come across often. In the organizational context, motivation is very important also. Now, have a glance at the pictures on the screen. There is a saying that I can't do it, and that I can't should be converted into I can do it. And there are different means used to motivate people. Finally, in an organization, the manager must ensure that the things are happening. He has to make things happen. And keeping this point in mind, let us go into the details of this introductory aspects of motivation. What is motivation? Motivation can be defined differently, but in the context of organizational behavior, motivation can be said as effort towards any goal, and this meaning is very common. If an individual is making some effort to attain any goal, we can say that the person is motivated. And when we trace the origin of the word motivation, it had its origin from the Latin word movere, which means to move. That means the motivation keeps us moving. Motivation keeps a person to move forward. And we can define motivation as a process that starts with physiological or psychological deficiency or need that activates behavior or a drive that is aimed at a goal or incentive. So three key words are there in this definition. There is a deficiency or need, and that need activates behavior or becomes a drive, and that activated behavior aims at achieving a goal or incentive. So there are three terms: needs, drives, incentives. Let us see what each word denotes. Needs. Needs are deficiencies that are created whenever there is a physiological or psychological imbalance. So we can say that need is a deficiency, and that deficiency or need is created as a result of imbalance, maybe either physiological or psychological. So need is a deficiency as a result of an imbalance, and that need, when activated, in an individual or when intensified in an individual becomes drives. Needs become drives. And drives are deficiencies with a direction. The deficiency has a particular direction. Such directed deficiencies can be called drives. And the third term is incentives. Anything that alleviates a need and reduce a drive is called incentive. So something that removes a need or reduces a drive is called incentives. So needs are there, and when that need is activated, it becomes a drive, and that activated behavior or drive is aimed at attaining some incentive. Another definition of motivation is a process that accounts for an individual's intensity, direction, and persistence of effort toward attaining a goal. So motivation is a process that accounts for an individual's intensity, direction, and persistence of effort. So here we try to see motivation with certain characteristics of effort, and those characteristics of effort are intensity, direction, and persistence. And ultimately that is aimed at attaining a goal. Let's see these three words, intensity, direction, and persistence, in a deeper way. Intensity means how hard a person tries. Direction is where effort is channeled towards what the efforts of an individual is channeled, and that is called a direction. And persistence means how long effort is maintained, whether the effort is maintained for a longer period of time or was it a very short effect. So persistence stands for how long an individual keeps his or her effort. So intensity, direction, and persistence. And motivation account for an individual's intensity, direction, and persistence of effort. And in intensity we saw that it means how hard a person tries to achieve something. And the word direction here means where effort is channeled. And persistence means how long effort is maintained. Another definition, the third definition of motivation is that it's a six-phased process, beginning from the inner state or need deficiency and ending with need fulfillment. As per this definition, There are 6 phases in the process of motivation. And the starting point of this 6-phased process is the inner state of need deficiency. And the 6th phase ends with need fulfillment. Let us see the details of this definition. The first phase is need deficiency, and that results in search and choice of strategy that leads to goal-directed behavior, evaluation of performance, reward or punishment, re-evaluation of need. So these are the 6 phases. The first phase is need deficiency, which may be either physiological or psychological. An individual or an organism has some need deficiency. And in order to fulfill the need, the organism searches for various alternate ways to fulfill the need. And as a result of that search, the organism may find out various alternatives. And among the available alternatives, a particular alternative strategy may be chosen by the organism. And that is the second step, search and choice of strategy. And depending on the choice of strategy, the organism may engage in a goal-directed behavior. In order to implement the strategy, the organism may behave in a particular way. That is called goal-directed behavior. The goal is to fulfill the need. And in order to fulfill the need, the organism may behave in a particular way according to the chosen strategy. And after exhibiting the behavior, the evaluation of performance is carried out. And as a result of the evaluation of performance, the organism may be offered a reward or a punishment. And as a result of the reward or punishment, the organism may re-evaluate the need. Now let us see this particular 6-phase process with an example from the context of an organization. Assume that an employee needs a promotion. An employee wants a promotion. He desires for a promotion. And promotion is a need. And the employee searches for various options available to get a promotion. Assume that there are 2 alternatives. One is to put in hard work. And the second option is to please the boss, who may promote the employee. And here our employee chooses hard work as a strategy for attaining a promotion. Now he moves to the third step, third phase, goal-directed behavior. Since he has chosen to work hard, here in goal-directed behavior, the employee may put in better performance. He may work hard to attain or exceed the targets. And in the fourth phase, the person who is responsible for promoting the employee evaluates the performance of the employee. So that is called evaluation of performance. And when the manager or the superior is happy with the performance of employee, he may promote the employee, and that promotion acts as a reward. Or another possibility is that the superior may deny the promotion, and denial of promotion may act or may become a punishment to the employee. On the basis of the reward or punishment, the employee may re-evaluate the need for promotion. If he is rewarded his performance through a promotion, he may continue working hard in future also, anticipating another promotion. Or when he is punished by denying the promotion, he may come to the conclusion that there is no point in working hard because my superior, my boss, is not going to offer me any promotion as a result of my efforts or hard work. So he may give up thinking about promotion, and that phase is called re-evaluation of need. So in this context, or in the context of this six-phase process, we can say that motivation is a process beginning from need deficiency and ending with need fulfillment. Now let us see the importance of motivation. Motivation is very important in an organization because we know motivated employees always look for better ways to do a job. This means when an employee is motivated in his work, he may search for new ways of doing a job, better ways of doing a job. So it is very important that your employees are motivated. The second point, motivated employees are always quality oriented. The motivated employees are more concerned about quality along with quantity. So they may be more quality workers. In order to have quality employees in an organization or quality oriented employees in an organization, your employees should be motivated. Motivated employees are more productive than apathetic workers. So that means when an employee is motivated, he or she may be more productive. Productivity we have seen earlier. Productivity is a ratio of input-output. Here we say motivated employees are more productive means such an employee may be consuming lesser inputs to produce. So the organization is benefited as a result of this motivated employees. Fourth point, people must be attracted not only to join the organization but also to remain in it. So this point says, from the top level management's perspective, an employee joining the organization must stay in it. They must continue with the organization for a longer period of time. They should remain in it rather than going out of the organization. It is very important that your employees are attracted to remain in the organization. It is not just important that the employees or people are attracted to join the organization. Rather, they should also remain in it. Otherwise, the organization may have to pay high cost for recruiting or getting new employees every year. So it is very important that your employees are staying with you, remain with you. And in order to remain in an organization for a longer period of time, it is very important that your employees are motivated. Now let us see the types of motivation. There are positive motivation and negative motivation. Positive motivation is the motivation based on incentive. And in positive motivation, the workers are offered incentives for achieving the desired goals. The workers may be offered bonus when they achieve the desired goals. Or when they meet their targets, they may be given some financial incentives or some non-financial incentives such as praises, appreciation, etc. So all those type of motivation based on incentive is called positive motivation. And the other type of motivation is called a negative motivation. And this kind of motivation is based on force or fear. Fear causes the employee to act in a certain way. And the fear acts as a push mechanism, and the employees work hard to avoid punishment. So in negative motivation, employees work hard to avoid punishment. Anyway, they are working, so the organization is benefited, but they work to avoid punishment. So making employees to work hard to avoid punishment can be called negative motivation, and motivation based on incentive is called positive motivation. These are the kinds of motivation or types of motivation. And now let's see the nature of motivation. The first point or first nature of motivation is that motivation is based on motive. And we know individual motives which are internal to the individual. Motives are internal to an individual. And motivation is based on the motive of an individual. For example, an employee going for a job, he may be purely motivated by the monetary benefits alone. Sometimes another employee who is looking for the same job may be motivated by some other objectives or aims, maybe the power or the authority or the status he may have. So the first nature of motivation is that motivation is based on motive, and motives are very internal to an individual. And the second nature is that motivation is affected by motivating. So this means the motivation is affected by the way the individual is motivated. The overall climate in the organization or the style of motivation prevailing in an organization affects an individual's motivation. So it is affected by motivating. And the third nature, motivation, is goal-directed behavior. We had previously seen about goal-directed behavior. Motivated employee tries to achieve the goal. So he exhibits a behavior that will achieve the goal. So motivation is goal-directed behavior. And motivation is related to satisfaction. Surely satisfied employees will be motivated. Or we can say that motivated employees will be satisfied also. So motivation is related to satisfaction. And the next point is person motivated in totality. This says motivation is not a part or partial dimension. Rather, an individual is motivated in totality. The whole individual is motivated. It is not just a part of an individual. So, person is motivated in totality. Motivation is a complex process because it is based on various factors. We have to understand that it's a complex process. It is not very easy to understand. Different individuals may have different levels of motivation. They may prefer different types of motivation, and they may have different motives. So, since all these things vary an individual to another individual, motivation is a complex process. The next are types of needs. There are different types of needs. One is called primary needs. The first type of need is called primary needs. Primary needs are physiological, biological, basic or unlearned needs. As we had seen in learning, these primary needs are never learned by an individual. It is acquired or it is present by birth. For example, physiological or biological or basic, all these are primary needs. And these primary needs are animal drives which are essential for survival. Without these primary needs, no organism, no individual, no animal can survive. So these are essential for survival of an organism. The second type of need is the secondary needs. And secondary needs are learned by the individual through his experience and interaction with others. Through the experience or interaction with others, we learn so many needs. So such needs which are learned by the individual through the lifespan is called secondary needs. And the third type of need is called general needs. And general needs are number of needs which lie in the area between primary and secondary. Needs that are neither primary nor secondary are called general needs. General needs. And general needs must not be learned and completely physiological. It is not completely physiological and may not be learned by individual through experience. So these are the three types of needs: primary needs, secondary needs, and general needs. And the next is motivators, different types of motivators. Predominantly, there are two types of motivators: intrinsic motivators and extrinsic motivators. And intrinsic motivators are a person's internal desire to do something due to such things as interest, challenge, and personal satisfaction. So they are very internal desire of an individual. For example, some of us may go for some other kind of works or hobbies. For example, I may be interested in drawing, and that is without any compulsion from anyone else. Rather, it is an internal desire. So such an individual's internal desire to do something is called intrinsic motivators. And the other type of motivators is called extrinsic motivators. And extrinsic motivation is a motivation that comes from outside the person, such as pay, bonuses, and other tangible rewards. For example, an individual may be ready to work overtime beyond the normal schedule because he know that there is an overtime allowance for that work. So such a motivation coming from outside the person, such as pay, bonus, or other tangible rewards, are called extrinsic motivators. So there are extrinsic motivators and intrinsic motivators. Intrinsic means internal motivators. Extrinsic means external motivators. Thank you very much for watching this video.